Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Proline, the longest-running sports handicapping show in America. I'm John Cranton in Las Vegas, joined by Jeff Saad, who's been running Las Vegas Sports Services for 14 years, as well as world champion handicapper Jim Feist. Got a pair of college basketball tournaments to look at this week, the Big East and the Atlantic 10. Got some tourney tips for you. But first, Jim, you've been on a sizzling run here, 8-4 Saturday. You had a top play winner with an Atlantic 10 team that we're going to talk about a little bit later. Monday night, you were undefeated, 2-0-1. Had that platinum winner with Gonzaga against St. Mary's. Wasn't even close, a 7-point favor that wins 70-54. Another winner with San Francisco. You're on and you have a monster tournament package available for everybody this weekend.
Yeah, John, it's been really, really good. It's been, as far as March has been, it's cash March, just picking up money day in, day out. And it's sweet. We're going to continue that. We're going to play through April 7th, NBA and college for $49. You can start winning tonight by calling 1-866-841-1655. Like I said, we've been red hot. We've got some big plays tonight, and we have some big plays lined up as these tournaments go forward if the right things happen, which I expect they will.
All right, and speaking of red hot, Jeff Saad, you had a sizzling Saturday the last 2 weeks, 9-3. That's part of a 24-9-2 basketball run. Jeff, if this were baseball, you would be shoeless Joe Jackson with that kind of batting average, and you've got a triple header on tap for folks this weekend.
Yeah, this weekend, I never thought you'd mention Joe Jackson Day, but that was
Baseball's
a good one. 9-3, 9-3 last 12 college basketball releases, 24-9-2 since February 26th, 73%. This Saturday I have a trifecta, including my Tourney Shocker Game of the Year. Sign up early, you get a high roller play tonight. That's 4 plays and off, just $19. Call 1-866-575-8916. Well, it's going to trifecta, including my Tourney Shocker of the Year. And if you sign up early, you get a high roller going tonight. 4 plays, $19. 1-866-575-8916.
Okay, and Mr. Vegas, too, has a tournament total of the year going this Saturday. You can get 7 days of service in baseball and not baseball, NBA and college basketball for $15. 7 days, $15, including that tourney total of the year going this weekend. 1-866-896-1627. All right, before we get into the Big East, let's go through some tournament tips, Jim. What are some of the things that you look at during this most amazing time of the year for fans and sports bettors with games morning, noon, and night?
Well, it's the same thing. It's been the same thing since tournaments started years ago. There was a time, of course, if you go back far enough, there were no tournaments at all, and it was all regular season stuff. And then, some coaches really key for this tournament action. Other coaches back off because they feel like they did enough in the regular season, and they don't really focus as strongly in the tournaments. It really comes down to knowing that and watching what the public likes to do. The public, of course, is going to be all over your favorites, and because these teams have dominated throughout the season. So I look for that too, but I also look for the upsets. I look for the teams that absolutely have more desire at this time, and it's really like they have a gun to their head. They know that if they don't perform well, they're not going to get a selection. And we're going to talk about a couple conferences. One of them is the Big East. The other one is the Atlantic 10. And you're going to see, as we talk about these, where the desire is going to come from. And I think, first of all, if you're an average fan, you don't have any time to do the work. You're just going to go to the window. If you're going to the window, you're just going to bet on your favorite teams or the favorites in the games. That's what you do. But that's not how you get the money. You got to look for the spots where the teams are have a little bit more desire, and they can sneak up and get you.
Well, I'm a matchup guy, and one thing that I look at is, with respect to totals in particular, would be field goal shooting percentage defense, not points allowed. Even run and gun up-tempo teams, they're going to give up a lot of points, but they still can be really strong defensively. A statistic that really stands out would be field goal shooting defense from the field and from three-point land. You can tell whether teams really put an emphasis on stopping opponents by looking at that field goal shooting defense. Duke, for example, is an ACC team that I think is going to struggle in March because their field goal shooting D stat Cats have been below average to most Krzyzewski teams this season. Jeff, what are some of the things that you look at in March?
Well, it's similar to the college bowl games. Motivation is a key factor here. Some teams, as Jim said, know they're going to be in the NCAA tournament, and they might not have the same motivation as a team that's desperate. We're going to talk about a desperate team today, Georgetown. Some of these teams know that the only way they can get in the NCAA tournament is by winning the whole conference tournament. So you have to keep that in mind. Also, you might want to look at teams that didn't play well on the road for the year, and also teams that are coming on strong at the end versus teams that are kind of fading out. So those are some of the things I look for in the conference tournaments, John.
All right, our first conference tournament to look at will be the Big East. It'll be going on Wednesday through Saturday this week. And, Jim, let's start with Villanova. Boy, they've been the beast of the East this season. Can they carry that over and continue just rolling along this week?
They definitely can. And they have, this is a team that's 37-16 ATS run. They're 28-3, and they just handled. Creighton is a really good team, and this team has, they ran up against Creighton twice and totally got handled. So other than Creighton in this conference, they have dominated. And the other day against Georgetown, they just embarrassed Georgetown. They have the pressure. They can turn you over. They got the guard play. They play at the tempo that really disturbs a lot of teams. I like this team. I think they have a real shot. And at 28-3, this is probably a number one seed going into the tournament. I don't expect them to have any trouble with anyone else but Creighton.
All right, Jeff, the team that's going to be right on their heels would be Creighton. Villanova is a great run-and-gun team, but so are the Blue Jays, 14-4 in the conference for second place. But they swept Villanova this season, 96-68 and 101-80. That's a pair of powerful statement games.
Yeah, they beat Villanova by 21 on 28 points. So what they did lose, Creighton did lose 4 road games at Providence, at St. John's, Georgetown, and Xavier. So the Blue Jays could have a tougher time getting to a potential championship game with Villanova than it would be actually beating the Wildcats themselves. Creighton won't be without fan support. They've sold 3,000 tickets, and so they're going to have Madison Square Garden. We have a lot of Creighton fans there. Also, Creighton 16-12 against the spread this season, shooting 42% from three-point range, 49.6% overall. Of course, they're led by Doug McDermott, who averages 26.5. But it was Ethan Wragge who torched Villanova in that first matchup, shooting 9 out of 14 from three-point range and scoring 27 points. So Creighton can be beaten if their shots aren't falling. That's what you have to hope for. Georgetown held them to just 39.7% from the field and a 75-63 victory on March 4th. So if you can somehow slow Creighton down and play defense and hope they have a bad shooting night, you can beat them. Otherwise, it's going to be a tough team to beat, John.
Slow Creighton down. Boy, good luck to anybody who wants to put together that game plan. I'm going to take a look at Providence. Here's a team that's 20-11 coming in. They're playing pretty good ball, 6-3 spread run, and the positives with Providence would be offense. They're 4th in the Big East in scoring, 73 points per game. They really do it from three-point land, where they're 5th in shooting from long range, and they're number 1 in the conference at the free throw line, a sizzling 78%. Any kind of close games, Providence is great late at the free throw line. Got the very good veteran punch here. Up front, they got a couple of big guys in junior LaDonte Henton and 6'9 senior Kadeem Batts, but the guy who makes the team go would be the guard, Bryce Cotton. He's a senior, 21.7 points per game, terrific playmaker, 6 assists per game. But there's some negatives here with Providence, and that's the defense. Boy, the scoring defense. They're 8th in the Big East in points allowed out of 10 teams. The three-point defense is actually pretty good, 33%, but it's from the inside the arc that they struggle at times. So when you have that kind of defense, that is something that's could flare up and be a major problem in a tournament like this. They lost to Villanova at home. It did take 2 overtimes recently, 82-79. They did have a victory over Creighton, 81-68. They also lost at Villanova, 91-61. They lost at UMass, a top 25 team, 69-67 in overtime. And then in the finale against Creighton, they got destroyed. That ended a 3-game win streak, 88-73. Boy, they allowed 64% shooting in that game, including 10 of 20 from three-point land, as McDermott went crazy with 45 points. And Bryce Cotton, who had been hot all season, he had 23 points, but it was all in the second half for Providence. So overall, with their soft defense and great offense, I'm going to look at Providence as a team to go over the total, particularly so reliable from free throw land. And you'll notice they're on a 12-3 run over the total coming into the tourney. I can see that continuing. Okay, let's take a look at some other teams. Jim, we got Xavier. They're a team that split with Villanova this season, 81-58. They won, but then they lost the rematch, 77-70. Are they any kind of threat to make a run?
Well, of course they are. I mean, they have they're well coached. The big point I'll point out here, it's been a money burning team, 4-8 ATS lately, and that kind of means that they're overrated and they're not playing up to their expectations, which is something you need to watch. Now, that doesn't mean you bet on the teams that have beaten the spread all year and bet against the ones that haven't been, and you'll make money because the odds maker adjusts to that. But that's a red flag to me, and it's something I keep an eye on because this team has not played up to expectations enough times where they've actually lost straight up 11 games. Now, yes, they have come up with a good game here and there because beating Villanova 81-58 is pretty damn good. This team has the ability to do it. It has to be the right night. Consistency-wise, they're not there. But they can put a run together, and we've seen that in tournaments before where a team can get hot for a couple games and cause some trouble. Yes, they have the ability to win it all in this conference.
Okay, well, Jeff, Georgetown is a team I can never quite figure out. I mean, winning record overall, and they have been covering numbers. However, they've been a shaky team on the road and injuries, too. How are they going to how do you assess this team?
It's hard to assess them because they're almost impossible to handicap. The one good thing is Jabril Traore's back. He's the 6'5" junior guard. They were 10-4 when he went down, and then they went 7-9 without him. The Hoyle's been tough to figure out because they'll look good for a few games and they'll get blown out. 15-14 against the spread overall, but only 3-7 on the road against the spread. They got destroyed by Villanova on Saturday, 77-59. They had 18 turnovers. Shot just 59% from the free throw line. And as I said before, if you're looking for a team with motivation in these tournaments, this is one of them. 15-14 straight up overall, so they might have to win the whole Big East tournament to go to the big dance. As in most Georgetown teams down through the years, though, they play great defense, but the offense is so inconsistent. And that's one of the big reasons why they're hard to handicap. You never know when they're going to be on and when they're going to be off offensively. So Georgetown is a team that it's very hard to handicap, and you have to be very careful with them, John.
Yeah, Marquette is a team that has also been kind of strange at times. I would assess them as the little team that couldn't. I mean, they come into the tournament 2-4 run. The last two games were in double overtime. They lost to Providence 81-80. They lost at home to St. John's 91-90. This is a team that since January 18th, they played 6 overtime games. Well, they went 2-4, and remember, they had a pretty good start to the year at 7-4. And in the finale, they allowed 50% shooting to St. John's. You got two guys who carry the load. They got Devontae Gardner's a 6'8" senior up front, 290 pounds, 15 points, almost 6 rebounds per game, and senior Jamel Wilson. But the thing is, they're last in the conference at 3-point shooting, so you're not going to get anything from long range from Marquette. They're strictly inside. They had 5 games this season against top 20 teams. They lost all 5. They lost to Ohio State 52-35. They lost at Wisconsin 70-64, and they did go overtime to Villanova, but lost the game by 9 points. They're also in the middle of the pack overall in Big East stats, with one exception, and that's at defending the three-pointer. They're about as bad as you can get. 9 out of 10 teams, almost 37% shooting from long range. And that kind of reflects that in the spread stats, too. 5-14-1 ATS run, and when they face a team with a winning record, 5-11-1 ATS. So too many negatives for me to want to back this team.